What's going on, Guardians? Birdman here with another Titan build, and today I decided to do a bit of something different. Take a really old exotic that I think is absolute dog doo-doo and kind of combine it with something new that kind of has around the same, theme, I would say, and make a build out of it. And we have created a pretty unkillable Titan Void build. Now, but before I get into it, you can follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Birdman778. Comment down below your favorite setup right now. Give a like on the video, and also consider becoming a member of the channel. I'm doing pretty much just YouTube right now, so everything is super helpful. Now, let's slide right on into the build. Now, whenever we're going over this setup, I want to actually real quick talk about the exotic armor piece that we're using on this, just so it helps kind of flesh out exactly the rest of the build as I explain things. And that is going to be the Mask of the Quiet One. Grants ability energy when you're damaged, when critically wounded, regain maximum health on kills. I really actually kind of like this with the setup because we are using a glaive melee setup with a lot of overshielding. So essentially we're constantly running around with a pretty thick shield on us on top of our regular health, and then having this essentially be a way to generate a lot of energy while also being able to help us not die all the time. Being able to get max health on kills and comboed with the main weapon that we're using with this makes you essentially unkillable. I've done multiple different legendary lost sectors. I've taken this into a raid. I've taken this into a dungeon. This is a pretty solid setup. But again, Mask of the Quiet One, this came from beginning of D2, really kind of sucked. It always just like looked neat, but it just didn't have anything that really made it all that much different. But its combo with the glaive that we're using is pretty freaking juicy. When it comes to our subclass, obviously we're gonna be going Void for this. I like to use Ward of Dawn just for the fact that we're able to get weapons of light with this, faster activations because of all the melee damage and the mods that we're using in this build. I'm getting about 3 to 4 bubbles per lost sector alone, so that should just tell you how much super energy you're constantly generating with this setup. I like to run Rally Barricade for its faster activation, Shield Throw for an extra way to get our overshield in the setup, Vortex Grenade because it's just the best. It pulls enemies in and really helps with like the glaive melee portion, just because it's going to group enemies up for us while weakening them over time. For aspects, Offensive Bulwark, just because I like being able to get that constant grenade energy, that extra melee range, and the fact that it will help extend our overshield as well. You can swap it out for controlled demo if you want. It's just we're not doing as much volatile shooting and stuff like that with this setup. It's all melee. So I just felt as though offensive was just a little bit better of a choice. And then same thing with Bastion, where whenever we drop our Rally Barricade, we have a way to get our overshield again. Again, having multiple different ways of getting overshield is really important in this setup, in my opinion. So that is one that I really do enjoy using. In regards to the fragments, we're using Echo of Starvation so that we're able to get devoured whenever we pick up an orb. This is going to help with the health and tankiness of this setup. I really enjoy it. Echo of Undermining to weaken targets whenever we hit them with a grenade, because we're going to be constantly generating them because of Echo of Exchange. Melee final blows grant grenade energy. Now, let's say you did chuck on, maybe take off like Bastion for like controlled demo, and you had like another fragment to use. I would say Echo of Reprisal is the best one to use, just because you will get more super energy to constantly, drop a bubble on top of a boss and just melee them to death. It's really, really fun. When it comes to our gear, I always only leave like one piece where I'm just like, hey, this is the absolute must. You have to only have this one. And the other ones are typically ones you can pull in and out. For my top slot, I have the Scathe Lock with Osmosis, just so whenever I throw my grenade, I'm able to get essentially that void energy with it. And then the Regnant with Explosive Light and Envious Assassin, just because it's an absolute juicer. But the creme de la creme weapon of the setup is the Vexcalibur. You can get it from doing the old Brachion mission that is currently available. I'm constantly going through it as well, upgrading this thing, making it a little bit better every single time. But what's great about this is it fires a spread, and then it has a quick draining shield that will give you overshield. And whenever you kill an enemy, it will completely restore that overshield. So this is really nice. It helps increase melee damage as well. This is just a really fun weapon to use. I mean, it's just awesome with the overshield Void Titan. Unfortunately, whenever they nerf Synthoceps, this kind of fell back by the wayside, but I feel as though this tanky setup and the way this synergizes with Mask the Quiet One really does bring it a little bit back on top. Whenever I get the exotic catalyst for it, I'm definitely going to get the Grave Robber, I believe it is, where our mag is reloaded whenever we get a melee kill. It's really going to be a solid one to use, and I think Excalibur is pretty dang slept on right now. For all the mods and everything you're going to put in your armor, I will have a dim link in the description. But for Mask the Quiet One, for our helmet slot, Void Siphon is just really great because we are going to be getting some void weapon kills, so that's good. Hands on gains super energy on melee kills. This is going to be what essentially helps us generate as much super as we can, and then a Ashes to assets because we're going to be constantly chucking grenades as well. On our arms, I'm going to be using heavy-handed so that whenever I get a powered melee kill, I get an orb of power. Focusing strike grants class ability energy when causing damage with a melee attack, so constantly having that ability to drop our rally barricade and get more overshield. And then impact induction, causing damage with a melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown, essentially again ensuring that we're constantly getting that grenade to chuck around the area. On our chest piece, I run double concussive dampener in a melee. I feel like these ones are something you can kind of like change in and out depending on how you're feeling. Just completely up to you. On our legs, I'm running, again, one of those things where it's like you can kind of swap what you want in and out as you see fit. I have 2 recuperations, essentially ensure that I'm having that health whenever I pick up an orb, and then absolution. This is something though you could maybe swap off for like void weapon surge, so we're getting a little bit extra damage, something like that. Completely up to you. And then finally on our class mark, we are going to be running a bomber. So when we use our class ability next to an enemy, we get more grenade energy, and same thing with distribution, except it just goes to all the other areas. Definitely something you can change stuff in and out. It's not completely locked in. You're not forced into something, but this is just what I like to use. And finally, for the artifact things that you need and don't need, I would say maybe these 2 absolutely have locked in. Maybe the same thing with shatter orbs, just so you're able to get that orb of power. But the biggest thing I would say is medieval champion. Glaives, you wield very powerful explosion payload that stuns unshielded combatants, strong against unstoppable champions. Additionally, glaives are always overcharged when that modifier is active. I like this just because, again, synergizes with glaives. Good thing to have. Prismatic transfer is also a great one just because you're constantly popping that bubble, so it's going to help out your teammates. Thanks so much for stopping by this video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Again, let me know what you're thinking. Check out some of my other videos that I've recently uploaded, my Void Detonation build, my Arc Melee build, or a one that I'm about to be releasing here soon with the Path of the Burning Steps. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for all these different builds that we've already released, and also ones that we're going to be releasing here soon. But again, make sure you follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Like the video, sub to the channel, become a member, and comment down below a setup that you are interested in seeing. Thanks so much. Hope you guys have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.